the University of Pittsburgh on campus, and this is Hosfer Hall. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But this building right here in front of me stands on the footprint of Forbes Field, the former Major League Baseball stadium here in Pittsburgh where the Pirates played. The Steelers and Pitt Panthers played football on this location for a short period of time as well, but Forbes Field was most known for the baseballs. And I'm gonna show you something really, really cool inside this building. I'm gonna walk right through these doors and I'll show you. So this is really cool. This is the home plate from Forbes Field. Final game, Pirates versus Cubs, June 28th, 1970. So this home plate is underneath a sheet of glass, so you can see I'll step right on it. It's been restored and kept right here in its original location. So this is inside that building that I just showed you, so I'll pan up and show you. There's some escalators over there. There's people using this floor for whatever they're doing. There's a concourse here, some chairs up there, some sort of an office in here. But this is it. This is the home plate. This is home plate, Forbes Field, final game, Pirates and Cubs. And here's a picture. I'm getting a lot of glare, but there's a picture of Forbes Field right there. So we'd be standing right about here in this picture. There's the pitcher's mound, infield, outfield, and the outfield wall. And I'm going to take you outside and show you something really interesting there. Follow me. Okay, so I just showed you home plate, and I'm going to show you something even more interesting in my opinion right here. This brick. See how it extends all the way down the sidewalk. I'll show you why that is and what it is for. There's a placard right here. This line of brick marks the outfield wall of Forbes Field, which served as the home of the Pirates. So this brick is basically if they took the outfield wall and kind of raised it, just cut it. This would be the footprint of where the wall went. So it goes right down this sidewalk. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if any of you have ever been to Boston to walk the Freedom Trail, but it sort of reminds me of that. You just walk along there. Here's a historical marker here. And then I'm going to show you something that I think is the coolest part about all of this. I like the way it goes down the steps here. Here's another placard. Okay, so I've crossed the street. Right here on the steps is the brick. Coming right down the steps right onto the sidewalk like I showed you. And it leads to this. Check this out. Look how cool this is. This is the wall, the old wall of Forbes Field. Incredible. Look at how it has the flagpole. With the American flag flying. You don't see many ballparks with a flagpole in fair territory like this, right here. 457, right here to the corner. Look at that. That is so cool. So I'll show you something. You follow this wall straight down the way I'm walking. And look across the street, follow the edge of this wall across the street. I'll zoom in. Right up the steps and down that pathway is the sidewalk that I showed you coming over here. So that sidewalk leads right over here. Really cool. I'll show you over here, there's some ivy. It extends all the way down here. This I like. I love the ivy on here. It's really cool. They obviously raised the stadium, tore it down. Pirates moved into a new facility. University of Pittsburgh built a building on campus, which is where it once sat, and now there's this little park area here that serves as sort of like a memorial, a monument for Forbes Field. I love this. There's 436. So I'd be standing in the outfield right now, and there's the building that has home plate in it. So straight back in through there is where home plate is. And then there's a little park area out here. So this road that runs right here, you would literally be riding through the outfield of Forbes Field when you're driving on that now. And I'll peek around and show you something on the backside I also think is really cool. So not only do you have the back side of the wall, but just beyond it, you have the ballpark. So I love finding athletic venues, big and small, pro and college, old and new. But there's definitely a part of me that really respects and appreciates old venues, because with each passing year, more and more of them are going by the wayside. So many of them are harder to maintain as they age, and sometimes the cost of maintaining outweighs the cost of just building something new to replace it. But I love when you see things like this, when something's restored, at least a fragment of it. There's a little parking area here. But that all is not lost. So, you know, if this was torn down and you could come back here and say this is where something is if you wanted to see it or show somebody. But being able to come and view it like this, and it kind of lives on here, I think is a tremendous idea. Here's a marker here. Man, I didn't realize all the historical things that are even listed on here happen here. It's really cool. So I'd be standing right in the outfield right now in what is now a park. Very cool. So I have a good friend of mine who went to Pitt. He brought me here on a visit about 15 years ago. Showed me this. I thought it was so cool to see that. And that's it. That's the wall of Forbes Field. That's all. I'm here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm on the location of where Three Rivers Stadium once stood. It's obviously been torn down, it no longer exists, but this is, as you can see right here, the 30-yard line. This is where the field would have been in Three Rivers Stadium, set up for football, obviously. So it was sort of at an angle like this. I'll walk you over here and show you. So the football field would have been right here, and obviously the baseball stadium was in the same spot. This monument right here in front of me is for the Immaculate Reception, Franco Harris. So I'm sure if you're watching this video and have any interest in sports, you've either heard about it or know about it. But that happened right here on this site right here when Three Rivers Stadium was standing here. So you can see they put a little footprint, like a bronze footprint here. The Three Rivers Stadium would have been all this area out here. Where I'm standing would literally be the playing surface for both football and baseball. And as you can see, there's just parking lot all around now. The stadium's long gone. However, next door, right there, I don't know if the glare is coming through with the sun. Right there's Heinz Field, so that's where the Steelers now play. And the Pirates are just a few blocks up at PNC. But when I was younger, 8 years old, my grandma took me to my first sporting event. It was right here at Three Rivers Stadium, early August 1980. My aunt and grandma surprised me. I didn't know I was going. They brought me here. We had seats out in right field, so it would have been out that way. Ed Ott hit a home run right by where we were sitting. Pirates won 4-2. And even though that wasn't a college football stadium, just coming into a venue like that and seeing it ignited something inside of me. It was like it sparked something that I wanted to see more venues. And a lot of times people ask me, well, how did you get started in wanting to do this? And I really think that was it. I trace it back to that. That's the best I can recollect as to why I want to go see all these stadiums and why I do it. But this is pretty cool. As I said, this is the marker for where that happened, and I think there's one more thing still standing at Three Rivers. I'll go show you that now. Okay, here's one more memorial for Three Rivers Stadium. This gate marker right here. This is obviously says D on it. This is the only one that's left standing that I'm aware of. I'm gonna ride around and look. I knew that there was one left, and I found it. And funny enough, the game that I came to, as I said, we sat out in right field, which would have been right out here. I'm almost certain this is the gate that we entered. There was several of them that wrapped around the stadium. The river's over here. Behind me, where Heinz Field is now, I'll circle around and show you. Right there's Heinz Field. This was parking, and this is where we parked. And I have pictures from that game. I'm gonna go back and look. There's a picture my aunt took of my grandma and I coming out of the stadium. I still remember it. It was hard hat day, and I had the hard hat on from the game. We were coming down the ramp to head to the car. I'm gonna look and see if I can find that to match it up. Okay, so I'm here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm on the University of Pittsburgh campus. So the site I'm going to show you right now is where Pitt Stadium once stood. This diagram that you see, it's kind of like a marble monument that's into the ground here. This is cement. This is sort of like a marble. If you look closely here, you'll see it says Pitt Stadium. And it sort of, it's like a replica diagram of what the stadium looked like. So it was sort of a large oval. I don't know what it's sat. I feel like maybe in the neighborhood of 50,000. Could be wrong. But look here, this is the football field. with the end zones. And there's now obviously the statue. They're the Panthers. That's the mascot there with the statue. This building that's right behind it, that's the current basketball arena, the Peterson Event Center, I believe it's called. And this basketball arena sits on the footprint of old Pitt Stadium. So I think it was up until 1999. Again, I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up. I'm just going off the top of my head. But Pitt Stadium sat right on the footprint of this basketball arena. So they obviously tore it down. The Pitt Panthers moved into Heinz Field, which is where they still reside. They share it with the Steelers. And then the site of Pitt Stadium is what they used to build the current basketball arena. So I always love when you see either memorial markers or something that's been retained from a facility. So this is pretty cool. I like that they have the mascot here. I really like what they did with the old diagram of Pitt Stadium here. And then they've put a lot of the Pitt greats, a lot of the players into the base of this, so they're etched into the granite. You can see Larry Fitzgerald. You can read them as I go around. There's Dan Marino, Mark May, Hugh Green. There's a few more on the other side. Tony Dorsett, Mike Ditka, Joe Schmidt, Marshall Goldberg. And that's it. So I don't see anything. I don't see any columns or anything that was left. I'm pretty sure everything was raised when they took the stadium down, the football stadium that is, to build the current arena, the basketball arena. But this is a nice touch that they have here. I like how they worked in the mascot statue with it, and a nice tribute and monument to old Pitt Stadium, right here where it used to reside. So this is a side angle of the arena. This is the staircase that goes up. That memorial I showed you is right about there. So this is where the football stadium would have been, right here. Shares the same footprint. They built this basketball arena directly on the site, on top of what was Pitt Stadium.
Much to my surprise, Mellon Arena, Civic Arena, the Igloo, whatever you want to refer to it as, doesn't have a memorial marker like the other ones do. It doesn't have anything that kind of shows you where it once stood compared to the other ones that I showed you in this video, but there are a few things that still remain that were right outside of the arena that I'm going to point out to you here now in this video. I want you to look beneath the arena, the one on the left, it's the one I'm referring to. You're going to see what sort of looks like a horseshoe. That is brickwork that was sort of like the main entranceway up to the arena. And that brickwork, it kind of does like a loop in front of the arena, and it extends down on both sides right to the street. So the part that extends right down to the curb is still there. So when they cleared out this whole area, you can actually still see that brickwork. And there's a few you can see like white decorative concrete lines that sort of break up the cement in this image. I'll show you where those are. Also, if you look at the intersection on the bottom of the screen, there's a very faint Pittsburgh Penguins logo, and it's right here in this shot. So it's right on the curb. If you go back and look at that aerial shot, you can very faintly see it, but this still remains. And that logo is right on the sidewalk. And where those cars are is where you would have gone up, towards the arena, and it's obviously now a parking lot. Look on the left here, that brickwork I'm talking about. That is that decorative brick that ran up to the arena. This is the bottom part of it that came right down onto the curb by the street. Here's another view of it. The blue line is like the edge of the curb. Here, see that white cement strip that shoots off here to the right? That's that decorative strip that I was referring to that kind of breaks up the brickwork. Go back and look at that aerial picture of the arena that I was just showing you, and you're going to be able to see a few of those cement strips. And this is unfortunately where the arena stood. You can see the new arena in the background, but the cars that you see parked here is where Mellon Arena stood. So there isn't anything physically remaining that shows you where the arena once stood. However, there are the remains of the brick for that main entranceway and that old Penguins logo that's on the intersection. Those are really the only two things that are still left standing, if you will. And then this, of course, is the PPG Paints Arena that now sits next door and is the current facility in use.